Okay, let's call this ARB meeting Wednesday, June 17th to order. Roll call, please.
Mason,
Here.
Larson,
Here.
Corbin.
Here.
Kress.
Here.
Okay, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next agenda item, we have a citizens' time. Do we have citizens who want to approach the podium? Yeah, if you could give us your name and street where you live.
Jessica Hornado at 14786 Green Hill Crossing.
Mhm.
Turn on the mic. The mic, just push that button.
Where it says push?
Yep. There you go.
Obviously, I've been following this very closely, so I'm a familiar face because obviously they're asking if I'm coming here in favor for it tonight. I will say that there are elements of it that I do like. I do like the idea that you are willing to do the repairs to the building and the businesses, are in favor of it because I'm sure that they are getting the much needed repairs that they have not, received as of yet. So I will start off with that. Okay, so there's your compliment. Okay. However, obviously, the schoolhouse is a historic landmark, right? As you come into Haymarket, you actually see that before you see the sign for Haymarket, right? I'm sorry, am I supposed to, the whole rule thing, right? Am I supposed to do this and that? I don't know from the last time. So my question obviously too is, I know that there's going to be some fencing, some trees there. I didn't know if that was going to be blocking the nice view that we have of the old school building, coming in. So that was another reason why I wanted to come in to see that. And then obviously from the last meeting, the very long meeting that some of you endured, I know some of you did. I know you guys did. I know that there's going to be a revised proposal coming based on all of the comments from citizens and the concerns and the town council's questions. So I'm trying to figure out, as far as everything that's going to be submitted today, wouldn't it be subject to change based on whatever revisions that may be made? So I'm not sure everything that's going to be submitted tonight may be subject to change. Right? So then would that whole process have to start all over again based on the revisions? That was just another question that I had, just throwing it out there. But just eager to see what it is that we have, what you guys have to propose tonight. But just wanted to say that I didn't want the view of the schoolhouse building to be blocked, really, because that is something that is a historic landmark that a lot of people have endearing memories of. I know it was the first thing I noticed when I drove into Haymarket when I first moved here 9-10 years ago. I know people who have lived here for over 20 years, have fond memories of the school itself. But just wanted to make sure that we are still preserving that and being able to see that, and definitely don't want to see a parking lot before I see the schoolhouse building. I don't know, just not in favor of all that. But in favor of you helping out the businesses. So again, there's your compliment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Pat Guzman. I live on Hullfish Way in Green Hill Crossing. Unfortunately, I am opposed to it. Respectfully, I think you have a great idea. Just in that location, I feel like my little town of Gainesville, Haymarket, we're claustrophobic. We've grown so much, as Jessica said. I've been here for 27 years, and the growth, some of it is wonderful, much needed, and some of it is like, really? We don't need any more. My concerns extend beyond the development, because loss of the old schoolhouse, only part of it, that was a blow to me. I thought the whole schoolhouse was historic, not realizing that parts of it could be demolished. I mean, change is change, and I know you have to just accept, change, but I think it changes the history and the integrity and the development of what everybody moved here 4 years ago. Haymarket, everybody's hometown, you know, Gainesville. I mean, we didn't even have we had a Giant when I first moved here and that was it. So yeah, I did see a lot and great idea. Somewhere else, you know, take it down 15 where there's nothing and, you know, put there, but there, you know, and we've been over the traffic and the getting in and out of Green Hill Crossing. And, you know, I suggested them move and put down further on John Marshall, the roundabout down there, if it does go through, not right in front of Green Hill Crossing, because we already have one. And I don't, there's just this, it's a lot. It's a lot to absorb, you know, and I get why you're doing it, you know, you're here to make money and become, you know, but it's just, I don't think it's in the right place. And I wish everybody that felt that way would come, but they just, you know, their lives, I have vacation, you know, I have kids, I get it. But there are a lot of people, my neighbors included, you know, when I tell some of them, they look at me and like, really, where, what? You know, and I discussed that with, you know, Haymarket, you know, I live on the Gainesville side. We don't all, you know, hear everything that's going on the Haymarket side, but in all due respect, take all of our considerations in because there's a lot that is going to happen, you know, and progress is progress. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else want to come up to the podium? Do we have any emails? Okay, then we'll move on to the next agenda item. We have a minute approval for the regular meeting that was held April 22nd of this year.
I'll make a motion to approve the Architectural Review Board meeting minutes from Wednesday, April 22nd, 2027 or 26 at 7 p.m.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, you got a motion and second. Last chance for discussion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. So we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is ZP 2026-015, COA for the partial demolition of 14600 Washington Street.
Do you want to have your presentations before you go to the site?
We'll leave that up to the applicant. Would you like to present before or after we do a quick walk around?
If I,
After.
Afterwards?
after?
Okay,
Yeah, because I think it would be helpful to see it.
yep. Then if nobody has an objection, we'll recess this meeting until we get back from the walk. No objections?
Nope.
Okay, let's go into recess.
We're going in through the rear of the property.
All right, your mics are back on and you're ready to go.
Okay. We are opening the meeting back up from recess. We are at agenda item 5.1, ZP 2026-015. We'll start there with presentations.
Okay. Thank you. I'm Kirk Johnson. I live in Christiansburg, Virginia. Siobhan Dosky's my business partner in Greystone Company, and he lives in Haymarket here. Our company's based here in Haymarket, and just not in the town, in the county. I don't know if we've been introduced to you all except for the walk. We've done a number of developments, a lot of them in Blacksburg, Virginia, Virginia Tech, our alma mater. And we've done commercial and residential and mixed use and a lot of various different types of, we don't tend to specialize in any one type of real estate. But we were approached about this property and we, started looking at it and didn't think that, the current zoning would work with doing it all commercial and came up with this mixed use plan. Tonight, though, we're here to ask you for permission to request the partial demolition of the 1963 addition, approximately 7,700 square feet. You want to go to the next slide, Sean? Of that addition. The entire addition's 8560. It was done in 1963. So it's, it's post 1950, which is the historic criteria. But we would be or will be preserving all the pre-1955 structures as we showed you there, including the Lewis home and a portion of the 63 addition, a small portion that's leased to Trowville. Okay. Go to the next one. Oh, that's you.
Actually, I'm just going to go back here for a minute. Even though this is pre or post 1950, the certificate of appropriateness is still required under the historic Haymarket overlay, which is why we're going through the process, even though it's not something that falls in the historic category. And I believe everybody is familiar with the property, but in case you're not, the front part of the building that we showed you was built in 1935. Probably should have pointed out when we were on our walk where the second part of the building starts. I don't know if everybody knows, but it's much less obvious than the rear parts. But it actually stays very much the same height between the 1935 and 1946. Those two are really fairly tightly integrated as far as architecturally and everything. The 1954, still pretty tight and pretty tied to it. The ceiling heights in those sections are all very similar, except for the auditorium in the very front. That part is, like Kirk said, 25 feet tall. So that's the original building. It's about 8,000 square feet. The first edition that they had done was about 10,000 plus. And the second edition was a little bit over 5,000 square feet. The back rear portion is 7,700 square feet. That's the entire building. Previously, somebody had brought up, in case you look at our actual rezoning application, you may see different numbers. A lot of times we're talking about like rentable square feet versus building. These are all building square feet. So the entire building, not the rentable area. As we touched on here, while we were out there, you know, that rear portion is, you know, very far back from the road. It's more disconnected. It's got, you know, it's had persistent issues in being able to be leased up. You can see it's had 5 tenants in 13 years, which, you know, gives you about that actually, I think it was 2.6 months, 2 years, 6 months. And the ceiling height there is about 8'11" versus about 11 feet. In the adjacent 1954 wing that we walked into the Travai, that's about 11 feet clear. And the low ceilings just feel a lot more oppressive. It's a lot harder to lease for that space, and has contributed to its occupancy. And just functionally obsolete. It's not functionally obsolete for a school, but it's, you know, it's just not a workable solution for a commercial space.
So this, we just compared why we couldn't renovate it and what the demolition would enable along with our rezoning. And these are the points we've kind of covered about the functional obsolescence. We can't move it. We can't create a taller ceiling or visibility. And that's why it's functional obsolescence. You can't cure it. But what it will do for the property in our plan is we'll be able to add an additional 30 spaces where the building is, parking spaces for those tenants that are on the back side of the building, improve site circulation and access, so it won't be as far to drive around the building. The implementation of the Schoolhouse Commons plan, the new pedestrian breezeway, will make kind of the whole site more accessible and more pedestrian friendly, and stronger commercial viability for the spaces that we keep, the tenants that are there now. Okay. And the historic preservation, we're keeping and preserving the original school building, the 2 additions in 46 and 54, and the Lewis home as well. So those will be preserved. And as we spoke about, we will be enhancing the school buildings, and the Lewis home will become a common space for the residential development, community center for the residential development. And I believe the residential builder will improve it as well. And this is just a little summary of the horizontal mixed-use community that we're trying to design. Really benefits from taking out the rear portion of the school, adding the parking that would be used for commercial but could be shared by residential, you know, overnight or so forth. Again, we're preserving all the other historic structures. We're providing new housing for the community, the pedestrian breezeway, the common open space. One of the things we didn't really talk about when we were there, but the green space in front of the school building, there will be some parking, just 2 rows of parking, but in front of that, between that and Main Street, will be a large grass green space preserved. And there's other green space within the townhouse community. And it's smart infill development, not sprawl.
Okay. And I'm not going to go through all of them, but, you know, the idea here is, and it's in the packet, is, you know, how we're meeting the ARB demolition review standards. And, you know, we're preserving the historic integrity of the site. You know, as we mentioned, there's a code, Haymarket Code 58-16-3, that, you know, the 1963 one doesn't fall under. We are preserving there are no real other adjacent properties that are historic other than the ones that we're preserving already. The 1963 part, as you all saw, doesn't really confer any historic significance to the property. And we've got adaptive reuse of the viable portions. And this portion is the one that, as we said, it's been 30+% vacancy. The reason we're saying 30% plus is we can't get really specific numbers from the owner that give us the exact numbers. But what we were able to do is verify that it's 30% or more vacancy. They've had five or more tenant turnovers. And the preservation, there's no grants or anything financially that would make it a viable property as it is right now. So our request is, to approve the partial demolition of the 1963 rear addition. As we mentioned, it's not historically significant. We don't believe it is. It lacks the architectural character of the historic core. It's functionally obsolete. And it's not just 3 years or something that they've been trying to do it. It's 13 years that they've had it and had that issue with being able to keep it running. Renovation alone will not overcome it. It's essential. This demolition is essential to the overall plan. And the demolition enables the enhancement, the preservation and enhancement of 25,300 square feet of historic buildings.
Happy to answer
That's
any
it.
questions.
Hopefully that was 15 minutes or less, as promised.
Do we have any questions?
Well, I'm gonna provide a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, give us some detail.
Okay, so the building was purchased in 2013 after being utilized by Prince William County as a school system, as we all know. After it was purchased in 2013, it is considered private property. It was utilized, the building itself was utilized for commercial space, has been utilized for commercial space since then. The surrounding property was used for ball fields. That contract has since been terminated as well. The demolition is for 7,700 square feet, which is only partial of that rear 1963 structure. There's about 860 square feet that will remain that is designated to Truvai so they can continue to utilize and operate as they are now. So it doesn't affect their business. The proposed demolition will be visible from the right-of-way. It's going to significantly affect the footprint of the property. The area will be converted into shared use parking for the proposed zoning map amendment, REZ 2025-001, which is up for town council discussion right now. We will you guys can discuss the main structure as it is a historic resource. Any aesthetics determined by the demo permit, the change in the footprint, and so on. And then I have if you guys do intend to make a motion tonight, I have a motion for you as well. So, yeah.
So do I have anybody who wants to make a comment? Open for discussion.
I have a question. I think on page 17 of the application, it says that the zoning itself is conditioned upon ARB approval of this demolition permit.
Yes.
Can you elaborate upon?
So, Javon, you can elaborate on this more if you choose, but the shared use parking it requires the space which the 1963 rear addition currently sits on. Without that shared use parking, without that space, they would have to allocate space that is currently used for the townhomes for that shared parking. So really without the demolition permit, it would significantly alter the rezoning application. So therefore, the applicant has applied for the demolition permit first, simultaneously, so that they can get approval for this and continue on with the proposed application, rezoning application.
But the rezoning application, that's before council.
Yeah, so they couldn't submit the demo until after the planning commission move forward with the recommendation for resolution. So it just so happened that the town council meeting is at the beginning of the month and we're in the middle of the month, or the ARB. So they technically submitted it simultaneously. It's as close as we could get it. So, without this, then they'll have to change what is being proposed to town council.
So the reason it was worded, just to be clear, like the reason it was worded that way is that, had it not been worded that way and it went through town council and they approved it, and then the ARB said no, we would have, and the requirement is that when you do site plan has to be in substantial conformance to what the rezoning approval was. So if the ARB said no, it would not be in substantial conformance and we'd be stuck. We couldn't do what was approved. And so we said, okay, it needs to be conditioned. Like we don't want to get the rezoning approval until we've gotten a word, an answer on the ARB side. Does that answer it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you should just stay up there. Yeah, they're gonna have more questions.
Yeah, of course, there is an appeals process and everything. So, I mean, you could move forward, but I'm sure you're trying to rush this because time is money. I get that. Anybody have anything? Okay. Even though this building was built, this section of building was built in 1963, it is still part of the structure. It was an addition of the structure. So the main structure does fall within a historic boundary. So I would include this as being part of that element and being historic. Therefore, we got to go through the scrutinization of downing it. Now, if it was for improvements, it would be a different topic on how does the architectural elements fit in and everything. But because it's being downed, I feel it requires a lot more scrutinization just because of what historic impacts there might be. That's why we go through the walkthroughs and do everything. That's what we've kind of made as a precedence on whenever we do a COA for a downing of a building. I guess that's the main reason why the argument for me saying it's not historic doesn't matter.
Understand.
It throws it into a historic element because it is part of a historic building. Arguments for improvements, that's all subjective, right? That's kind of fodder. I'm trying to wear my ARB hat on, how are the architectural elements impacting the surroundings if anything changes? And of course, this is going to change by downing. How important does this change our historic asset within town? And is there any damage that is concurred through removal of it? Because once it's lost, it's lost. So that's why the scrutinization, why we wanted the walkthrough and everything else. I guess we can open up a discussion on, if there's no other questions, what are your opinions on the situation that we need to make a decision on? We go around the dais. Who gets the lucky one? Let me see. Flip a coin. I'll start on the right of me. Chuck, it's your turn.
I mean, from my perspective, I mean, looking at it objectively, we've had a significant amount of time to have something done to that building. And as of right now, it looks the way it looks. It's a disrepair. It shouldn't have gotten to that point, but it is. And so, looking at it as not only as a homeowner, but as a businessman, I'm thinking from the perspective of what options do we have? Um, and to get it up to speed would be, from my perspective, would require a substantial amount of effort. Um, and I'm not positive that that effort uh, uh, would warrant trying to save it from my perspective. So it's right now it doesn't look consistent with the rest of the building, with the most aesthetically pleasing part of the building to me. So I mean, I'm kind of for demolishing,
Okay.
my opinion.
Since I'm chair, I get to go last. So I'll pass on to Ben.
I get it. It's at the rear of the building, right? There's not a lot of street view, like you said. I think, anytime you do an addition to an historic building, right, you always look at the massing and the architecture, right? Because ultimately you don't want that new addition to dwarf the actual historic piece, or, the historic addition. I agree with Ken. I think this whole, the building itself needs to be evaluated holistically. I think, right now it's in line of sight. If these site plans go through with the townhomes, it won't be in line of sight, right? So there is that play with the demolition. I think, we do have procedures that we follow through with other demolitions, and I think at a minimum that needs to be followed through. As an engineer, I always see what we can do, right? I think improvements can be made. I think the spaces can be adapted and modified to meet needs, to make it more rentable. But I think, also too, the applicant and the owner has to be willing to do that. So I think at this point, I'm kind of on the fence. I can see this going both ways.
Okay, Jeff.
To be honest with you, I kind of understand both sides of the coin. I see how it is not currently leasable. I see how it does need some vast improvements. But hearing Ken and Ben speak as well, it is part holistically of a historic building, and I think that deserves a certain amount of due diligence as well. So I'm very much on the fence, just as Ben is. Yeah, I think everybody else covered it really well, and I just kind of I feel I understand both sides of the coin really. So I think giving it some additional time might be beneficial.
My turn. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Thank you.
I look at this, it's in the back, it's out of view. There are truly no real architectural elements that enhance the original architectural elements that you see in front with the concrete casting. And those are the true things that I think make this historic and good. Other than that, it's just a box building, right, with windows. I don't think it would deter from the architectural structure if it was removed. Um, uh, Historic value, in the past with other buildings that were neglected and people came back saying, it's unaffordable for me to renovate. We have allowed additions to be pulled off, but wanted the original skeletal structure to stay behind. So I am not against seeing this get removed just off of the precedents that we've used in the past on, the main interest of it is the main structure. So I don't really see anything that would be detrimental as long as we see it, and plus with the improvements that could be made to it, getting the because I could see the concrete facing was kind of crumbling on the front of the face, and hopefully that'll be a part of renovation that you'll be doing when you do start improvements on the building. But that's my opinion on how I see it. If there aren't any more,
I did want to mention the one thing that you said the first time that really stood out to me was just making sure that the original structure isn't damaged. I think that's really important and an imperative piece here, and that should definitely be very important to everybody in this process.
And I'll add to that is that if we do go through with the demolition, then the applicant will be required to come in and meet with myself and the town engineer before any demolition is to be had, to discuss protection measures so that the rest of the building is not damaged, just so everyone knows.
and another thing I want to raise in the discussions before we make a decision is typically if we do decide to take it down, we usually do put requirements for some type of archival through a relic study and everything. And I don't think we put that. I really wish Emily was here to mentor you on this, Lydia, because I don't know if you're familiar with. I don't think we put the burden on the property owner to do that. I think we usually do it, but with the understanding that the property owner is going to allow us to come in, take pictures, and kind of invade the property, right?
Yeah, I believe that it is on the property owner.
It
And
is.
it's in the motion that they would need to do that as
That
well.
was the case of the firehouse. that they
Yes,
had to
and
do
for the
those.
Watts house additionally, they also had to do it. So they
Okay.
will do the documentation of it. I will say this is not identified as an archaeological site. So it is historic, but it hasn't been identified as a potential archaeological site.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the presentation showed the legwork of, the understanding of this addition came up in '63. It was approved to be downed in,
Mhm.
2026, and improvements made or just some type of write-up. So if a historian got it, they can actually track a timeline of this thing on when
Mhm.
things were done.
Absolutely.
That's typically what we're looking at keeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With regard to just protecting the building, in addition to during the demo, I think one of the things that we've committed to is that in the rezoning, that because there's going to be a lot of other site work, a lot of improvements being done around the property, that we've committed as a part of the rezoning that we would protect the building even during that construction, not just the demo, but just to make sure that nothing happens to the front, to any of the parts of the building, we would make sure that, it's protected. So I just wanted to add that.
And if I could add also, I mean, I think part of protecting the building as well is not just, I mean, so as it stood right now, it is a standalone structure. And so people have enjoyed it as a standalone structure. If we're going to add now additional buildings around it that are going to be in concert with it, I do think part of that protection is spending a lot of time to make sure that it ties in and it doesn't take away from the architectural structure that we're seeking to protect. I think that's part of it.
Absolutely.
So I just, be patient with us as we go through that
Absolutely.
process as well.
Yeah, and even on the townhouses, we've added that the townhouses that front the road would all be in brick. That any of the townhouses that can be seen from the road. So the ends of I don't know if you have the picture, but I do have it up here. So let's say it's very small though. But like these townhouses would be all brick. So that when you drove by, but everything that you could see there would be brick on it. And it would be a brick, we were going to work with the town to be a brick that the town likes. I know that down from what I've seen, I love brick, as Kirk will tell you. From what I've seen, it looks to be like a lot of the stuff in the town is darker brick. And so I'd kind of envision the darker brown brick, but we would work with the town and ARB and see, what would be the best fit for it.
Yeah, and later on, they will be coming, revisiting us if they get to that point, because we got to approve the architectural structure of the townhouses and all that stuff. So it will be coming back to us if this follows through. Did I have a question over here?
Good.
And I think I have the guidelines pulled up, and part of the complete and professional photo documentation of the interior, exterior, that's what's written here. You said the archaeological survey we don't need to do, but then also the applicant must demonstrate the site will be prepared and maintained in accordance with the landscaping plan once the building has been demolished.
Yep.
Those are the other things that if there's a motion, that should be included in it.
So the landscaping is determined at the site plan stage. They do have a outline of where landscaping will sit within the GDP, but like specific landscaping, like what trees are going to go where, is determined during the site plan stage. But they do have to follow the zoning ordinance for tree coverage and plantings for that. And the reason an archaeological survey was not initially required was due to the level of disturbance on the entire 8 acres. Just the history of the project between it being a school site and then also being used as the ball grounds. The use of the land doesn't require it.
So are we to a point where we can make a motion? What I can suggest is that we can start off with a positive motion saying approval. At that point, we can either deny it or shut down that motion and then put it on a motion to not deny it or to deny it, depending on if the approval was voted no.
The motion there.
The whole thing?
Just the second, yeah.
Okay, let me read it real
Right
quick.
there.
'Cause
I had to
I
add it.
do.
This is what was taken from when you did the demo permit from the AC Watts property.
Yep. But I do want to add conditionals to it, even though it is a chicken egg thing. You need this before you can get the rezoning, just to make sure that you can go through the rezoning process, right?
Yeah,
Well, I want to leave this conditional on the rezoning.
Yep. That language is included at the end on page 24 of your packet. I do have it in there that it's contingent on the rezoning. Just have to blend the two together.
Yep. So who wants to make the motion? Some chair, I always hate to make motions. You've been voluntold, as our newbie likes to say.
So how much was all?
You read, I guess, this piece, and then do you have this up?
And then we start.
And then the recommendation, the contingency.
Yeah, the draft motion, I'll move the conditionally approved. Multi-resident. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. I move that the Haymarket Architectural Review Board approve COA ZP, I can't even read this,
2026.
the ZP 2026-015, the request to demolish The 1960 addition, approximately 7,700 square feet from the rear of the structure at 14600 Washington Street, the old Gainesville School, locally referred to as the QBE building, subject to the following findings and discussions for approval. Number one, the portion of the building being requested for demolition, approval was built post 1960, thus the addition is not considered a historic building. The Historic Haymarket District overlay's purpose is to identify, preserve, and enhance buildings and structures with historical, cultural, and architectural significance to the town. Buildings designated as historic under the overlay shall be built prior to 1950. Number two, per the town of Haymarket's research of the structure known as the Gainesville School, the building was built in the 1930s and several additions were added to the rear of the original structure. The structure served as a public school and was ultimately sold to a private owner in 2013. The addition being requested for demolition was built post 1960.
I need a second
Yeah.
for that, and I would deny it, my recommendation, because this goes in saying that it's not historic, and we just discussed that that was.
Mhm.
So, no seconds, I'm assuming? Okay, then we'll look for another motion. Let me clean this up a little bit. Did you want to be up here conferring with me on this, Lydia,
You
or?
want to take 5 minutes and we can talk about it?
Yeah, let's take 5 minutes on this.
Okay.
Okay. I move the Architectural Review Board approve ZP 2026-015, the request to demolish the 1960 addition, approximately 7,700 square feet from the rear of the structure at 14600 Washington Street, the old Gainesville School, locally referred to as the QBE building, subject to the following findings and discussions for approval. The Historic Haymarket District overlay's purpose is to identify, preserve, and enhance buildings and structures with historical, cultural, and architectural significance to the town. Buildings designated as historic under the overlay shall be built prior to 1950. Per the town of Haymarket's research of the structure known as the Gainesville School, the building was built in the 1930s and several additions were added to the rear of the original structure. The structure served as a public school and was ultimately sold to a private owner in 2013. The addition being requested for demolition was built post-1960. The recommendation is contingent on the understanding that the requested demolition is not due to an architectural or structural failure or neglect, but rather the demolition is required for the rezoning application RZ number 2025-001 to continue and for the full 8.84 acres of 14600 Washington Street to be developed. I further move that the board work with the applicants, Greystone Developers, to identify and document the history of the structure, the history of the public school in the town of Haymarket, and other historical information regarding the site in the form of any oral history interview and full photographic documentation.
Do I have a second?
Yes, I second.
Okay, any further discussion? Let's put it up for
I
vote.
think we need to do a roll call vote.
Yes.
Okay. Mason?
Here. Aye, sorry. Aye.
Larson?
Aye.
Right.
Orban?
Aye.
Kress?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay, let me pull up the.
We have a motion
agenda.
to, we can run through the rest of the stuff and then we'll.
Oh, we guys, there's more?
Yeah,
Oh, geez, I turned on my.
yeah, we got
I'm
old
sorry.
business, we got new business, all that stuff. Give us
Yeah.
old and new at one shot, I guess.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, we still have a quorum, so we're good.
yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
Okay, we're.
Ladies and
still
gentlemen,
continuing the meeting, please.
we're still,
Quiet,
we get
please,
still
we're
more
still
stuff.
Continuing, so.
Excuse me, you're still continuing?
So in terms of old business, the preliminary site plans for the hotel retail that will be going in over at Crossroads was approved. We're awaiting their formal submission for that as well. Currently, there are no zoning violations going out. I'm still doing regular checks on a number of items. Some things are being, there's a lot of number of things that are being resolved by just friendly courtesy emails. A lot of people who just don't know that it needs to be fixed up or they aren't aware that the town is aware of it. So there have been a number of friendly emails going out to resolve a lot of issues, and so those are being worked on as well. The EPA survey crew for the flooding issues that are going on in town was back out this week. They will continue to work tomorrow. And then I will meet with them next month to recap the survey. The pipes are being CCTV scoped so that we can get a better look at what's going on, figure out if they just need to be cleaned or what kind of maintenance is going to be required for that as well. Jefferson Street is the largest component right now, and then behind Pups Valley towards the Crossroads townhouses as well. Behind there, there's some flooding issues and some stormwater maintenance issues. So those we are actively. We received a grant with Prince William County for the work to be researched so that we could have some potential ways to mitigate that recommended to us. And then once we get that done, it will be up to the town to fund and make a decision on how we are choosing to mitigate that. Trying to think about old business. The rezoning for the QBEs to town council right now. Planning commission hasn't had anything. I've met with the planning commission twice now to update them regarding the comprehensive plan. We're starting to get a little bit more steam on that, make some a lot of research on historical trends and data. All of that, some of it is already posted on the website, that we will slowly be getting more on there. We just recently launched a new website, so we're getting everything updated. There's some stuff that needs to come down and some stuff that needs to go up. So you are welcome to have those, of course. Yes.
For passing out?
Yes. So that is one of the presentations I gave, as well as a matrix that kind of outlines comprehensive plans and localities around us, and the results of that. The next step, I gave a presentation on historical data, census data, population data, did some long-range projections, including into 2040 as well as I discussed transportation and housing. There's a huge housing crisis going on in Virginia right now. HUD has done a lot of research on it and released a lot of research on it. VDOT has done a lot of research on the traffic that is going through I-66 and 15 currently. If you guys didn't know, the segment of I-66 that runs parallel to us is called the H2 segment, and it sees a lot of traffic, and that is a big proponent of why we are seeing such an uptick in traffic these days. We sit right on the crossroads between 15 and 66, and there's a lot of traffic going through there. So the rest of that presentation is posted online. The presentation notes will be posted online soon, so you guys will have access to that. Yep, that is old business.
Any questions?
I think when we were performing our site visit today, we were over by Zandra's, and I think at one point there was a comment previously with violations. It's like several months, and your predecessor had indicated there was a curb cut that was filled in. Has that been resolved? Because it was part of like the fencing and the signs and everything else.
Yeah, I don't believe so.
Okay.
There are a number of items that it's a tricky site for violations. So we are working on that. For that popular property in particular, you really have to hit them with the book to get some traction on what you want fixed. So we're taking it one step at a time right now with that property, but I don't believe that was fixed up.
Okay. And then design guideline updates.
So that is a goal of mine, to take a stab at that.
Okay.
I think that now that we have the strategic plan adopted, and as we get more traction with the comp plan, that will push and guide the historic guidelines a little bit more for what people in the town want to see, what they want that historical and cultural aesthetic to be. So I think a lot of it is on there. I think a lot of the language is what really needs to be updated. I think there's a few points where it says go to page yada yada for more information, and then that page doesn't exist. So it does need some updating. It is on my to-do list to do, but it won't be for probably probably won't take a stab at it for another 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know there was talk about the bylaws. Council hasn't delegated us to have bylaws. When you do the guidelines, do you intend to put some type of bylaws in there for us, or?
As of right now, I don't believe so. We can discuss that more as I take a closer look at it. And I will discuss that with the town manager as well, whether or not we feel that is suitable for the board and suitable for the guidelines.
I can also give her the copy of the planning commission bylaws that they adopted in July of last year, they adopted some new bylaws.
Yeah, and I mean, they've been threatening to do this with ARB for a long time, so I know there have been some type of drafts put around, so
Mhm.
you might be able to find some historic documents if you start digging, but it's always been put off since we've never really been forced
Yeah.
to comply. But truly, it gives some guidelines for any applicant to understand what our rules are and what we're being restrained to. So it might be beneficial to be included with the guidebook, but like I said, I've been kind of staying out of that since it hasn't been forced on us by council.
Yeah, I will do some digging for that, and I think we're gonna take a close look on that one. Because I do understand where it would be beneficial, but I also see where it could hinder your guys' process as well, so.
Yes. Okay, any more questions on old business? Any new business going on?
Tomorrow is Government Open House Day. Yay! I will not be here, but Julia's got a lot set up for tomorrow. There's gonna be tie-dyeing for the t-shirts. There will be a Touch a Truck event. So we've got some regional trucks coming out, including a trash truck and is the recycling truck coming? Fire truck is definitely coming. And then we've got some local businesses who are going to be out. B&M Steel is going to be bringing out one of their larger cranes, as well as a welding truck for kids to check out. The crane will be in full scale out and about. So we are very, very excited about that. There will be ice cream served by the police department. There will be popcorn. And we'll have waters and juice for the kids. So we do hope that everyone comes out 10 to 2 tomorrow.
Any questions or comments? Okay. And you're complete, right? You're done?
Yeah, I think that's all I
Okay.
have for you guys.
Then we'll move on to Planning Commission updates. Since Jeff left, I guess you'll have to be the planning liaison, right?
You know, it isn't my job title. I don't mind it. Again, we just met about the comprehensive plan. That is kind of the big push right now. I think it's really important that, especially with a lot of development that's going on in the town, I think it's really important that the town has a document that's really resident and community stakeholder led in its design, to push and guide town council and planning commission themselves to make decisions about what's going on in the town. So that's the big push right now. Other than that, there hasn't been any applications come through or anything, so.
Okay. We won't stress you with questions. Since, we
I
know-
mean, if you have questions, I will answer them.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, perfect.
So that leaves town council update. We're pushing a lot of meetings this month because we don't have a full council for the month of July. And so a lot of meetings will probably end up getting canceled. We're looking at ordinance for the e-bike. We've been discussing a lot of that. The rezoning of QBE property, of course, is we had our public announced meeting on that. We are still working the 2027 budget. 2020,
You approved it.
was that approved?
You voted on it.
Well, it had to be approved by July 1st. I know that, but so we did approve it. Yeah, my head's kind of spinning. I've been kind of in and out of too many meetings. What else is the town park ordinance for closure was approved. Yeah, Kim, you're the best one to help me out on this. Tax rate was approved.
Council and elected officials, training and travel policy was adopted.
Training and travel policy for both council and staff were adopted.
VDOT abandonment, you discussed that.
Yeah, VDOT abandonment of a lane, which was actually in the QBE property that we were just discussing. They actually had responsibility for the exit lane
Mhm.
up to the building when it was a schoolhouse and it was overlooked and never removed. So we gave the right to remove it. That's about it. Any questions for me? Any concerns that you want to raise for future council member meetings? Cool. Next agenda item,
Adjournment.
motion.
Make a motion. I make a motion to adjourn.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Caught you guys sleeping. Meeting adjourned.